Thank you for tuning in to another episode with Mrs. Danielle DeVita. I am a relationship and femininity coach. I've been married for 13 years, and my goal is to help both men and women be in relationships that's best for them. So today we're going to talk about feminine communication, how to effectively communicate with your partner if you are a woman and you're looking to be in a traditional relationship with a man. And I have to say that because some women, if you're not looking for that traditional relationship, if your man doesn't care how you speak to him, if he is okay with that, then this doesn't apply to you. But for you women who want to be able to speak to your husband or your boyfriend, your man with tact, and you want to be in that traditional relationship where there's a level of respect that you have for a man, then keep listening. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about first, what is tact? Because a lot of people say, well, I am just speaking my mind, I'm keeping it 100, right? And I am all for you speaking your mind and being real. But there's a way to filter things that is not necessary. So if you don't have to say it, you probably heard when you were younger, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. It's not to say that because you're going to have this uncomfortable conversation that you just should not say it because it's going to arise a conflict. No, what it means is if you don't have to say it, if you're trying to do a personal attack or hit below the belt, then you don't really need to have this type of conversation. The conversation needs to be at the center or the root of what the problem is. What I mean by that is if your issue is you don't feel that he is being thoughtful, then what you need to address is that you want him to be more thoughtful. Not he ain't ish, he ain't gonna ever be ish, and you so tired of this and tired of that. Get straight to what the root is, because then what it does is make the other person to be on the defense only about the sub issues of what you're talking about instead of the actual issue. So start addressing the issue exactly, what the root is, and leave out all of the nonsense, all of the pettiness, all of the personal attacks below the belt, your mama this, your daddy this, your whole family this, but leave it at this particular issue is what I have with you. That is more mature. It is, and it's a more graceful way. Now, another thing with tact is, besides leaving out all of the extra fluff and the stuff, but getting to the root of the issue, and of course not any personal attacks, saying things in a way that you want people to receive them. Usually when we say things, it's because we want the person who's listening to actually comprehend what we're saying. And what comprehend means, they are audibly listening to what it is that we have to say, and they are dissecting it and using it in application towards being better. Right? So that's why you don't want to say things that's not necessary, because if it's not to make them better, if it's only to tear them down, then you're wasting your time, you're wasting your breath. They're not going to want to hear that and receive that. And if they do receive it, that's going to have a negative effect on them. Right? So you want to make sure you're saying things that's full of love and encouragement to want to do and be better. The whole point of you being a woman is to influence people either with your verbal or nonverbal communication. And the way to do that is to have tact, how you say things, and you know what's the thing to say to get that person motivated. And it does not have to be anything that requires you to have to use your body, right? Or you to say things in a way that requires intimacy. So you don't have to apply some level of physical intimacy or say things a certain way to get, or in that type of way, in that intimate type of way, bedroom way, to get what you want. You should be able to say things with authority, but in a loving, graceful, and compassionate way. So I'm going to give 3 examples from my personal situation just so you can better understand. There's many times, like many of you, whether it's your husband or your boyfriend, that they may procrastinate on things that's necessary. And, well, I wouldn't say it's fully necessary, but like, for example, the smoke alarms, I would say. So sometimes, I have the batteries, I have everything ready, and I'll say, hey, I need this smoke alarm, if you can change this out. And sometimes it may take a month. It may take 2 months, it may take weeks, right, for these things to be done. I need you to, if you can do change out the light is going out, in and out, or it's flickering. So sometimes when you guys hear a smoke alarm or things like that, it's because he hasn't gotten to it. Now, I could easily get upset and saying he ain't doing this, he ain't doing that. But what I have to also realize is he is doing things. He's just not doing that. There's so many things to do. So many things that he may not get to do. But I also understand that he has a job. He has 3 businesses he's doing. He's doing a lot to provide and protect our family. And everything is not going to get crossed off the list. And truth be told, if you're a woman, everything's not crossed off your list. There's some baseboards that you haven't gotten to in a while. There's that refrigerator you've been meaning to clean out for a while. There's this deep cleaning of the oven or whatever that you haven't done in a while. There's this you needed to do with your child that you haven't gotten to. There's, spring cleaning out your closet, whatever it is. You haven't gotten to everything either. But a lot of times we as women like to think that we're perfect. And once you first understand, okay, I don't think that they meant to do this. They didn't mean to hurt me. They didn't mean to forget this. They're not just being lazy, right? There's a difference if your person is being lazy, but we're talking about competent men who are not lazy. They're procrastinating because there's so much for them to do, and sometimes they just don't get to it, or they just really don't feel like getting to it at the moment. All right. And so if I don't like to be a bugaboo. So if I ask him to fix X, Y, and Z and he forgets or he procrastinates or I'll get to it later, I usually tell him, again, hey, I asked you twice if you could fix this or do this. I know you're tired. I know you're busy. If you can't get to it, that's fine. I can hire someone from Thumbtack or wherever, site that you go to, TaskRabbit or whatever. I can hire someone to do this. I can get the neighbor or get someone to do this. A lot of times he doesn't like when someone can do something that he can do. If it's something that, he's, not skilled in, of course, we'll get someone. But if he knows that, then he would say, you know what, I'll get to it. And I'm going to go ahead and do it now. It's because the way I presented it. Now imagine if I presented that in a different way, in a negative way. What's the likelihood of him being able to, want to do it? Because all he heard was disrespect. Not that he didn't do this, but he just heard disrespect. And as you can see, this smoke alarm. And so that's why I gave that example, because it hasn't completely gone out like consistently, but it gives you an alert that it needs to go out. And I know he's tired because we have so many smoke alarms in the house and he's fixed all of them. And usually a month later, one happens to go out. And so it's a reminder that, hey, this one needs a battery too. Yeah, you did all the other ones, but I'm next. So I already bought the batteries and everything for him. He just has to get to it. And he did say he's gonna do it, so he'll do it this evening. So, and it just started not too long ago. But that's a great example. Another example would be, I may have asked him if he could, order this or do that. And he may not have gotten to it. And I could say, I can order, or I can do this, I can do that, or please, honey, I don't like to bother you. I know you're busy. I know you have a lot going on, but if you could please do me a favor and have this done at least by the end of day. And I say these things because you don't want to make people always do things on your time. If you give them a deadline, at least a sooner deadline, they're likely to do it. And of course, it's all within love. You're reminding them, I know you're busy. This is just a gentle reminder. Even when I do things through text, sometimes saying this is just a gentle reminder to do this if you can by end of day. If you can do this by tomorrow, I need this as soon as possible. I'd appreciate it if you get it done. I definitely don't want to continue to bother you anymore. And sometimes they're more sympathetic and they go, oh, she has told me about it. Let me get to it, right? And the same thing, men can say things with love. With women, we are great at receiving things. Yeah, sometimes you get a kick in the pants, you got this coach-like attitude where you're prompting someone to get to it and they'll do it, but they're gonna remember the way you said things. And so it is nice to say things with tact, say things with love, because then the person will remember, I remember when he said no, or I can't, don't do this or don't do that, but he said it with love. So the memories are still good, even though it's some type of scolding or checking, however you want to, or recall that this person is trying to hold, or someone holding you accountable, however, constructive criticism, whatever it is, it won't be in a negative way. You can think about the time that your mother or father criticized you or scolded you, but it was still in a loving way. And that's all I'm saying that you want to do with your partner. You want to make sure that you're feminine in the way that you speak to him, because the whole goal of anything you're saying, especially when it's something that you need done or you want done, is for that person to understand, comprehend, receive it, and apply it in a way that you want. You want them to do those things, but do it in a way that is not going to then be another personal attack on you, and then it's a back and forth personal attack, and then nothing got done. You want to discuss the root problem instead of all of these extra things to show that you're petty, but you want to discuss what is really wrong and how to fix it, and you want them to receive what you said, and you want them to actually apply what it is that you want them to do, whether it's asking them for something, whether it be money, something back, do something for you, some type of act of service. The whole point is to communicate in an effective, mature, and feminine way. To know what to do something in a feminine way is, think of doing something ladylike. How would a lady respond in this way? What a true lady is. And it's not to say that men should respond the opposite. It's just to say that most people, when they think of a lady, they think of someone who is mature, graceful, gentle, and loving and kind. And you want to say things in that way. You want to be patient too in how that person responds, right? But if you're tired of a person having a slow response, then you can put a time limit on it, but in a healthy way. Think of a time when your job, or if you have a good manager, instead of them demanding you to do things, they command in a healthy way, in a way that it's still getting the job done, but it's not belittling you. You know, hey, I'd like to get these reports by the end of the day, please. Thanks. Rather than, you need to do this or you're fired now. Or you want someone to be assertive instead of aggressive towards you. And there is a difference, because aggressiveness, it has a level of macho-ness, trying to command a presence, but in a way that is unhealthy, because they don't know how to talk to someone and still have that level of authority. They do it in a demanding way. They're trying to use it striking fear. They're using their insecurities to do it. But when you're assertive, you're still confident, but you're still doing this in a way that has tact and love in it. Whether you're in a relationship with the person or not, the goal is to always speak to others in a feminine way if you're on your feminine journey. So I am speaking for a woman who's been married for 13 years. I've been with my husband for 16 years. Not only do I know how he responds to me, I understand how other people respond to me based on me communicating with others. And the best way to do that is in a healthy, mature, and feminine way. You can be feminine on your job no matter what job you have. If you know that honey receives more, you receive more with honey than you do with something sour, right? So I always like to say, when you want to dish it to someone, when you want to tell someone how something is, you want to make sure that you don't add hot sauce on it and you don't add sugar on it. Because if you add hot sauce, people are going to just think about how spicy it is and they can't get the taste of what you're saying. If you add too much sugar on it, it's so coated, they don't realize what they're really eating. They don't realize what you're saying. It's like when you try to fire someone and you do it in such a beautiful way, they don't realize they're being fired. They think you're just complimenting them, not realizing that you're firing them. And then if you are firing them in the worst possible way, all they realize is you were nasty to them, rather than they were let go because they weren't meeting said standards, right? So there's still a way to do things with tact, and then whether you like it or not, you just have to learn to respect it. There's many things my husband say that, hey, I don't like it, but I have to respect it because he was honest and he was loving, and I receive what it is that he's saying, and I can grow from it, right? So that is all I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mrs. Danielle DeVita. Take care.